Hey, Jay.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Just a thought on this big encounter tomorrow. Your team always seems to get up for these big games. Can you give us a thought on now you're chasing Vegas and you have an opportunity to really make up some ground here?
I think every game is a big game. I would say that the team we're going to play tomorrow is obviously on quite the roll. One of the hottest teams in the National Hockey League. They seem to be healthy and really feeling it. So it's going to be a big test for us tomorrow night.
Do you take anything from the fact that you were able to grind out a couple of wins when maybe you weren't playing your best heading into this game, or are those in the past now and you're focused?
Specifically, what do you mean? Sorry.
Like you look at the video of that, and we have to improve on this area and this area and this area, or do you just say, we got those out of the way, let's just...
Yeah, I think we're 9-2 in our last 11 games. For me, it's going to be a good test tomorrow night to see where our game is at, and we're excited about it. We don't spend a lot of time thinking about games that have been played. We spent a lot of time thinking about what's going to happen in the most upcoming game.
Jay, when you're mixing your top six guys around, you have Hyman and Yamamoto, at least on practice anyway, swap. What do you look for? What's the gut feel behind that move sometime when you just switch a Hyman and Yamamoto?
Yeah, I don't think it's always gut feel. I think there's a lot of experience behind certain choices we make and a lot of talk and study of why we make certain choices that we do make. I think one of the benefits of having as many good players as we have is that they're interchangeable parts. And I think that makes us a dangerous team, is when we can move the chess pieces around the chessboard, because it if things ever get stale, there's good options to move people around. And I think it makes us a tough team to handle line matchup wise, all that type of stuff. And, today's lineup was today's lineup, but nothing with us is ever set in stone.
Talking to his teammates, a lot of them were kind of wowed on the bench, talking about the Draisaitl pass, the initial one that sent David on his first breakaway in overtime. A few of the defense were like, who even thinks to try that pass, is what Bouchard and Vincent Desharnais said. When you watch it again on video, what goes through your mind when you see a pass like that? I'm not sure you can make a better pass in flight on the tape, plus the moment of the game.
I'm glad that it was Leon making that decision to make that pass, because he has that in his bag. That skill is in his bag. I think there's a reason he was voted the best passer by his peer group. I think when the game's on the line, in a situation like that, our coaching staff trusts someone of his ability to make that play, and he felt something in that moment, and he made the play. And so not only did he make that one, he made the next one too. Very high-end play by a very high-end player.
Jay, I know you answered a question about Connor's 60, but in your year and I believe 1 month being his head coach, what is a story that comes to mind? I apologize for putting you on the spot, but that really depicts his determination and his work ethic.
I think of a lot of really good moments in his or my time in the last 11 months with. But the series winner against Calgary was one that stands out for me. I didn't think our team necessarily played our best game, or he played his best game in that series. When the game was on the line, he found a way to send the dagger and end Calgary season. It was a big win for our group. It was big to be able to find a way to get to the third round. I just saw a real determined player on that play.
We have Beckett on the right-hand side of the room as well. And if Beckett or any other child came up to you and asked you, what's the biggest takeaway from Connor McDavid? What is your biggest takeaway from Connor McDavid?
Just the work ethic. I think, he's somebody that everyone always goes to the end result. I go to the process with him, and certainly he was been blessed with a level of talent based on his his parents. But for me, what most people don't realize is how much work he puts in to make sure he maximizes his personal potential. And I think that's most impressive.
Jay, Kyler Yamamoto's had a season of starts and stops and trying to get going and all that. Where do you sense his game is right now as we get to 10 games left?
Yeah, pretty good. I think I feel good about him where he's at in our lineup. I think he does work for other people. It's okay for a young player to have to work through a little adversity. And for Kyler, his adversity has shown up in the form of, injuries and not playing the full season. And once he got going, then it was another injury here or there. So for him to have to work through that struggle, I think is that's only going to make him better in the long run.
You mentioned his place in the lineup. He's not exclusively, but almost exclusively been a top 6 player for you.
Yeah.
You have a lot of guys that have shown that they can step in there. Do you want Yamamoto to kind of seize that job, or do you see it as kind of an open spot where somebody maybe could take it because of the roles that they've had in the past?
Yeah, I think when we set lineups, what we're trying to do is win the game that night, and we've put people in places we think are best suited to help our team win. That said, as I mentioned earlier to Jason, was that the one thing we've shown is that we're willing to move pieces around the chessboard. And, I think we're a much stronger team with Kyler Yamamoto in our lineup than if he's not in our lineup.